Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hi, everybody. This is episode 31 of Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. And today we are answering your questions, design or non-design related. We put it out there and said, ask us anything appropriate, design or non-design. And here's the questions that you asked. The first one comes from Tonya Hicks. And her question is, what is the craziest or wildest thing either of you have done to celebrate a major accomplishment?
Okay, we could answer this in so many ways because we celebrate all the time. And it's not just for an accomplishment. Yeah. We're just, really
working hard and playing hard, basically.
That's right. But so many come to mind. But last year, and we may have talked about this on the show, but last year we were at we were at K-Biz in Las Vegas, the Kitchen and Bath Show, and we were invited to a party by Thermador, and they had a private concert for us in the banquet hall we were at,
which wasn't really huge.
Oh no, it wasn't. By One Republic, and so. Don't think that, we had any problem pushing ourselves all the way to the front.
Let's clarify this. Kelly likes to push herself right to the front. And then
I'm 5'2". I can't
have
see
to follow
anything.
Along.
That's right. Yeah,
but
if that's your excuse.
We really
it was so fun. When you hear that concert noise and you hear that person going, ah! That's totally me at the top of my lungs. Although we did do the same thing. We were at High Point. So tired and exhausted at the end of the day. Usually we're like such losers. We go to bed at like 9 o'clock. But Casey and the Sunshine Band was playing, and we were like, we should just go.
And let me tell you, that was one of the, that's like a total highlight of like a celebration of walking, 10 miles a day, and then, being there and remembering every song.
Well, it was hot, and we went in there and we slammed like 3 beers, like right away, and again, pushed our way straight to the, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, the other people that have asked questions, we're probably not going to get to your questions because we're too busy talking about how we celebrate.
But we knew every word to every song. Oh my God! But he was really sweaty. I had to say, it was kind of it was a little.
He had some good backup dancers.
So Tonya, don't worry. We're still wild and crazy, even though we're like tired and dead from everything we do. All right, who's next? Heather Reese. We love you, Heather. She says, "How do you decorate between Christmas and spring?" And Joanne and I are both the same.
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting question because the kind of the holiday decorating messes with my normal decorating, and
with your perfection.
Yeah. So I've started using less and less, and so when I put the Christmas stuff away, it's like, oh, thank God, it's out of here now.
Yeah.
And so I don't really. I don't decorate like seasonally that much. Now, my sister, she has this really cute shelf in her kitchen, and for whatever the season, in wintertime, she'll have snowman things, then she'll have Valentine's stuff. She has a really cute one for September, because that's when they go back to school up north, of all back to school stuff. Mm-hmm. So for me to answer that question, Heather, I don't really do anything any different.
Well, we're just going to probably get poo-pooed for our answers, but I just feel like my house is so, well, quite frankly, well decorated, and I know Heather's house is too, but I don't want to mess it up. So, I have like I have a huge island, and I have this big, huge wooden bowl that we bought at Scott's Antique Market, and so it's really easy to change up. So, like maybe in the summer, it's filled with fruit. And in the winter, I've got pine cones and, pine-scented candles, or I've got poinsettias or whatever. Yeah. So I'll change up like one or two things.
Well, let's preface this because, when my kids were younger, of course, I did more of that. Like I had a little tree with little Halloween things on it, but now that I don't have kids in the house, I really don't want to mess with it.
So. Yeah. So.
All right. This next question comes from a colleague, Heather Scruggs. She's in Tennessee. And this is very interesting because we get asked this question a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to answer this for any other business partners or people that work closely together. So she says, how do you handle differences of opinion? Like when one of you is sure something should be one way and the other sure it should be the other. I know you're great friends and were friends before you got into business together. And I think it's amazing how you work together and are so awesome together. I love that. But I know how hard it is for me to just work for friends. So it's hard to imagine the dynamic working with friends.
Was it Heather or Elizabeth? Oh my gosh, she's going to kill us. Yeah. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, that is a great, great question. And, we've talked about this before, but to me, it just comes down to respect. And
I mean, there's definitely been times where one of us will think one thing, one of us will think another. But I don't think there's ever been anything that has been so much where it's like, this has to be. I mean, that we both feel so strongly where, one of us just might say, that's fine. If you want to do it that way, that's okay. When we've had a really, really tough time, this has probably only been 2 or 3 times, we have flipped a coin.
Yeah.
Just because, well, I don't know. And we're still okay with it. Like, I don't know that we're so similar that I don't think there's any one thing that Kelly would say that I would say absolutely not. We are pretty much on the same page.
Thank God, because I wouldn't want to put up my dukes.
Yeah. So it's a matter of, consideration, respect, and, you win some, you lose some. But at the end of the day, it's all for the good of our company. It's not Kelly's company. It's not my company. It's us. So we're a team, and we want to do what's best for us, not just we don't look at it as me. So
yeah,
I guess that's,
you got to bend sometimes. Okay, so that was Elizabeth. Sorry, Elizabeth. Brain fart on that. That was bad.
I had Heather. I had Heather on my brain from the thing
from
before,
Heather Reese before.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is from Patty Ward, who we love. She's another designer, and she's not another designer? Oh, I thought she was. I'm getting confused with all these people calling in and writing into us.
Yeah, I know.
Silly me. I'm sorry. Anyway, so she has a question about hardwood floors. Do you recommend engineered hardwood? Also, can I put a different shade of wood upstairs and on stairs than I have downstairs? Or upstairs, downstairs. Can I do different?
Definitely have an opinion about this. Okay. So your hardwoods that are on your main floor, if they are different than what's upstairs, I'm totally cool with that. Those two spots don't really ever probably touch each other. But I really don't like the stairs being different than the hardwood that it's near. So in that case,
you don't like different woods butting up to each other.
I don't like different woods butting up. And I really like an accent rug on stairs, something that's 100% wool or really
a runner.
A runner of some sort, rather than trying to do, that's a lot of wood.
And of course, we're totally fine with stone, tile, marble, anything butting up against, changing flooring on the same floor is totally acceptable. But I have a little bit of problem with that too. And people are facing that right now with a lot of the renovations they're doing.
And to answer your question about engineered, we're perfectly fine with that. I mean, it has to be a really good quality one. And
and they've come a long way. I mean, they're really, really beautiful. They come in all different species, hand scraped, different stains. They look so real, and they're really, thick. So you can refinish them once you put them down. And just to kind of take that another step, there's also what you'll hear LVT, which is luxury vinyl tile. It's vinyl, but it looks like hardwood. Now, we might not be using that in our, Kiowa new build, but I'm using it in my lake house because it's waterproof. You can't scratch it. You can't kill the stuff. And it just works for the lifestyle of that house. But again, those have come a long, long way too. The aesthetic is super cool, I think, and the price point is ridiculous. So, it works in certain places.
Yeah, and I think consistency is good. Like I said, I wouldn't want to see a hardwood that kind of had like some nice brown tones, and then right next to that, maybe a hardwood that was either a wider or more narrow with a different color. It's not good to the eye. It's not a seamless, consistent look. So,
and I think most people now, when they're talking about hardwoods for their house, they are going to the wider plank, the mixed sizes, and absolutely, I don't like that butt to butt with the old 2-inch ones.
Yeah,
don't like it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Patty. That's our answer. Hope it's okay with you.
All right. Now, Melodie Church, she is a designer, and this is another thing that a lot of us designers deal with. And her question is, how do you tactfully discourage clients who make purchases after a presentation has been approved, especially when the purchased item does not meet the project specs?
That's such a good question, and we have a really easy answer.
Yeah. I first have to say is our presentation is from beginning to end. There isn't going to be room for a client to go purchase a chair or something else because we're doing it from start to finish.
Well, and let's back up one smidge. It's in our contract. So it's in the design contract that they sign when they pay the design fee ahead of time before we even start, that we are in total control of all purchasing and all design elements. So if they want to tell us that ahead of time, like, we just finished an install where the client had found these Stanley chairs that were so incredible. She found them in Home Goods. And she's like, I love these, and this is the jump up for the room. Can you work with them? And we said, absolutely. Let's recover them and let's make it work. But she told us that in the beginning.
Yeah. Generally, when we have, selected all the items, they all work together and the rendering is done. And so there would be no reason for somebody to go out after we have presented. So.
Now, in the beginning, I will say that paragraph in our contract was born from this exact thing happening. And, and then you have to be so tactful and so polite because, of course, the piece that they've picked 9 times out of 10 is totally out of scale, totally cheap,
not right.
Not right. It's not like, oh my gosh, I just got back from France and I went to the Paris antique market and look what I found. Then we'd probably be like, okay, let's work that in. But that's generally not what's happening. So, so we just cut it off from the beginning, Melodie, and say it's not, we're going to take care of everything for you from start to finish. So go do what you do and relax and let us do what we do. So
there you have it.
Yep.
Okay, then we have a question, and this is another great one because I think a lot of you out there will probably relate to this. So this is from Dexter, and he says, how do you marry 2 different design styles when spouses seem to have opposite opinions? Example, one likes wallpaper, one seems traumatized by it, one likes wood with more of a gray wash, one prefers earthier tones, etc. Is there a good rule of thumb to make both feel heard in the design? That
is such a good question. Go Dexter. And I did hear through the grapevine that Dexter's a huge fan.
Yes.
So
he's obsessed with us.
I was very excited to see his question come across Facebook. When we start out with our consultation, many times the husband is there or both, let's just say both spouses are there. And you can tell when one has the upper hand or one has the louder voice and one might not be saying anything. So we really focus on the quiet one to make sure that they feel like it's even playing ground. And I think once that's kind of established that we respect both parties, they both seem to relax a little bit so that when we have to bring bad news, like when one says, I would really like an accent wall that's purple with black stripes, and we'll have to then we can.
And you do. It's really, it's kind of like a marriage. It's kind of like a business partnership. Same kind of thing. You have to give and take. And one person may feel very, very strongly and say, I really want to do a black wall or whatever it may be. And we'll either say, you absolutely cannot do that. That's our professional opinion. And that person will kind of let go of that. But there's going to be, and when it comes to the different woods, that's going to be one that you just have to find the happy medium, or, one gives in, one doesn't. But you do both need to feel heard and
we're always really trying to throw a bone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you got to throw the bone out and give up to something to the one that, because generally they're not, one's a little crazier than the other, with their requests. So, or sometimes it just takes some product knowledge or a little bit of coaching and explaining, like, well, why do you hate wallpaper? Tell me about that. And they'll say, oh my God, when I was growing up, yada, yada. And then my grandma made me take down this wallpaper. It took me 4 days. Well, nowadays when it's installed properly and the walls are primed, or why, why do you love that gray color so much? Let's talk about it. And it works out.
I think a lot of psychology is involved too, because sometimes people don't like a certain color because that color may have been a sofa in Aunt Betty's house,
yes.
And Aunt Betty was not a nice person, or there's associations that come along with either a piece of furniture or a color or a certain style. So you just got to talk through all this. But we've had this happen many, many times, and we find a way to keep everybody kind of happy.
Yep. Okay, so that was really good. Do we have any others, or Dexter was our last one? Mm-hmm. Okay, so today's kind of a crazy day because we are working on. We talked about this with our new quote. Our word was it Numinous. I just love that word. It means, somewhat fascinating, somewhat scary, somewhat enthralling, somewhat, and I feel like that's our life right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're working on a bunch of projects that, I'm just telling you this story because we're answering these questions and people always want to know the inside scoop, and we sound like we all know what we're talking about. We kind of do most of the time, but we're still entering into these projects that scare the bejesus out of us, and
we're still learning.
We're still learning
every day,
right? And what I've really come to really rely on is the expertise of our partners, right? So we're getting ready to go and meet with our lighting guys who have custom designed this wicked light fixtures for this big commercial space that we're working on, and we got to kind of sit down and walk through it with them. This is not our wheelhouse. We are relying on them to create these cloud ceiling formations, and some of it's recessed, and then there's these crazy LED, contemporary fixtures that are being created, and it's giving me heart palpitations.
But I love learning about it, and I love going out of our comfort zone, because every time we do, another opportunity comes up, and it's like, that's so great. We would have never learned that if we didn't do that.
It definitely gets the adrenaline pushing.
Yeah, like we said, just say yes and you will figure it out. So we're just saying yes and figuring it out.
Yeah. So we're going to leave you today, and we're going to go to our coaching with Mr. Phil that we've been talking about. And do you know what we're talking about today?
I think we were doing these hot seat spotlights, on each person. I think we've gotten past that. So now I think it's really just a lot of Phil talking, who, he's got so much great information. And so I think he's the one who's really kind of doing the talking and leading it. And it's just, more about super rich small biz.
Yep, that's the name of our group. Yeah. So we're going to do our coaching. Then we've got this meeting with the lighting guys, and this has been a week of and I think we have 6 or 7 installs this month. So we're we're running fast and furious.
We're also working on Thrift Studio, which is Dwell with Dignity. If you look them up, we've talked about them before, but we are going to be creating a vignette. When you say vignette, it sounds small, but we have a pretty big area. And
I think it's 26 feet long by 15 wide or something crazy like that.
So we are going, so Thrift Studio has a warehouse that a lot of companies have donated items. And so we've selected what we want. It gets moved to that space. We've got a lot of great artists who have, and we'll do a whole podcast on this because there's a lot of people we need to thank. And so we'll be creating these really big galleries, and then there's a party, and that's where people come. They pay $150, but quite honestly, the way the stuff is priced, you could easily make that up in purchasing one item.
Yeah, so everything in all the vignettes, there's 6 or 7 vignettes put on by different designers. Everything is for sale, and all the funds go to Dwell with Dignity, which helps mothers, usually single moms and their kids who have been recently homeless, to get established into new housing, which we then completely design and decorate. Yeah. And it's just an incredible. So Thrift Studio is the fundraiser that fuels money into Dwell with Dignity. Yeah. So we're working on that too, which is nice.
We really love that. If you have a few extra minutes, if you go onto our blog and type in Dwell with Dignity, I think that is where you will see the photos of an apartment we worked on for a young girl with her 2 daughters about 3 years ago, and to just see what a great organization this is, and it's just a really feel-good thing. So yeah, we're excited to do that.
The other thing you'll see on our blog, if you go, I'm starting a weekly blog on the progress, the very laborious progress of the gut and remodel that I'm doing on our little lake cottage, and it's so educational. You can kind of walk through the process with me as I'm learning and I'm making all these selections, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback on it. So that's just a little insight into us today, questions and what we're doing, and so.
All right, so this inspirational quote, I selected this just because this is really all about me and Kelly. And so it comes from Henry Ford, and it says, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success." And I think we owe our success to, number one, working our tails off.
Yep.
But being a team and being able to do twice as much and be able to use our strengths and weaknesses to help each other, and that's why I think we are here and still strong.
Well, and like Elizabeth asked us, it's one thing that we get a lot of attention for because there aren't a lot of successful partners out there, and so these questions still come up, like, oh, come on, you guys must fight. How do you get through differences? And we've gotten lucky, I think, too. I mean, we work our butts off, but we've gotten lucky with our relationship. Let's just say it's been a good thing. So that was a great quote. Mm-hmm. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Here's our funny quote of the day, and this comes from our designer friend Denise McGahey, who I love this because her chef daddy husband is a great cook. "Marry someone who knows how to cook. Looks go away, but hunger doesn't."
I just really love that.
Which is funny because her husband's such a cutie.
Yeah, he is a cutie. Yeah. He's got the whole package.
Yeah, so he still looks good even though he's still cooking. So yeah. Looks go away, but hunger doesn't. That's funny. Okay, guys. We said, we got a crazy day, so we're heading out, and we hope you have a great day too.
Thank you all for listening.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram @Kandrak-Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at kandrak-cole.com for more information.